10. He said the 10 was the lowest he could do. So when I reached out to the people that mattered and everybody felt like it wasn't worth the gamble or me losing the rest of my life.
Prison Stories 101, man. Once again, we're back with another special episode, man. I got the privilege and the honor to sit down with Mr. Govan Hernandez, man. Cat, man, what's good with it?
What it do, Joe?
Man, for the first and foremost time, go ahead and reintroduce yourself. And overall, tell them how much time you had served overall.
Overall, like during my life or just on this last situation?
During your life.
That's probably done served about a total of about 7 years.
Definitely, man.
And for the ones who don't know, Orange Mound quit, Mr. Not Guilty, Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do this one a little different, man. Normally I go through the what happened and how you got set up, you know, how everything went down. But I want to kind of go backwards because you just got found not guilty for the conspiracy to commit murder on Memphis rapper Young Dolph. First and foremost, whenever you get arrested for something like that and you actually have to sit in county, because you was in county, right?
Yeah.
What's the name of the county in there?
It's called 201 Poplar.
Okay. And that's the only county in
Memphis? It's Shelby County, but you know the name of the jail is we call it 201 Poplar.
All right. Have you already sat in there before? Like you've already did?
Yeah. When you get arrested in Memphis, that's where you normally go.
That's right.
And it's been a few times when, you know, bonds done been revoked. And, you know, you can't make bond, you know, so yeah, I've been there a few times.
All right. My first question, man, is, you know, before we get into the stories of being there, is it any difference when, you know, normally you get arrested for some, you know, like a small little whatever, you know, most people probably who know, you go in there, see people you know, but to go in there for that high of a charge, what is that experience like? And is it different than just going in for any type of, you know, misdemeanor felony type charge?
Yeah, it's a big difference, you know, because typically, you know, unfortunately, I done had over 20 arrests, and that's probably just, I'm being nice on the number. But, you know, growing up in the Orange Mound community, you know, you tend to run into BS every day.
Yeah.
So with that being said, going in for a typical drug charge, gun case, whatever it may be, it was totally different from the last experience, you know, because by my case being so high profile, you know, they had me in this stupid ass red shirt. I was on 23-1 solitary confinement the whole time I was there. And, you know, so it's a big difference when you get arrested on a regular charge. You know, you just go through the motions. They take you in. You get sent to general population. You get to move around, get to use the phone, you know, whenever you want to, if you got minutes on it. So it wasn't like that this time. You know, it was a different process. Every time I had to move, I couldn't move unless I had at least 3 officers with me, shackled up from head to toe. So, you know, it was a big difference.
Yeah, explain a red shirt for those who may not know what that means.
Red shirts, they give it to the high-profile inmates. You know, just stands out to let everybody know in the jail, you know, we can't move without proper supervision, being shackled up. And it also stands out to let everybody know that we solitary, confined inmates.
For the guards themselves, how do the guards treat a red shirt, or not even the red shirt, treat you during this scenario, as far as for you to be in here in the city for this scenario? I'm sure the guards is fans as well, or some of that nature. Did you ever have any situations of running with the guards as far as any type of, just what kind of treatment did they give you?
Man, it was number love. You know, I can't even remember a bad incident that I had with any staff members related to the case. Of course, I done got into it with, you know, officers about petty shit, about cutting the TV off, or we trying to watch a certain game and call down to the TV room, get the proper game put on. But far as getting any backlash from officers because of the case that I was involved in, nah, that didn't happen to me. They kept it professional. If they did feel some type of way, they never voiced it or showed it.
Was there any other type of high profile inmates in there while you was there?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I was, the tier that I was on, the unit that I was, for the most part, it was for what they would consider either high profile cases, or they would even put people down there who done had assaults on staff, shit like that, who need to be housed by themselves. The jail that I was in, it was overcrowded, and that's just saying it in a nice way. So they would just juggle inmates around, but for the most part, we had no contact with nobody for the most part.
And you did that for that situation. You was in there for 10 months just for that situation.
Yeah, I was on 23-1 for 10 months.
Why it take so long for you to, because you was able to bond out eventually?
Yeah, I didn't get a bond until the 10th month.
Oh.
I was asking my attorney in Memphis, my ex-attorney, William Massey, to file for me a bond hearing. And, I'm trying to make bond. They ain't got shit on me because I ain't did shit, and he was, he was just taking his time for whatever reason, constantly giving me excuse after excuse on why we hadn't pushed for a bond hearing yet. So when I started disagreeing with him and seeing shit for what it was, I just knew I had to make the best decision for me and my life and my kids, and that was to move on and hire Manny Aurora from Atlanta, Georgia.
Wait, so during this process, you had one attorney, and then you had to separate from that attorney, get another one. Was that basically because you didn't have a bond, or?
No, it wasn't even so much about the bond. It was a lot of things I was disagreeing with, how the case was being handled. Certain motions wouldn't file, and things like that, and I just felt like it's high profile of a case that I had. I didn't see the urgency, from him. The normal urgency that I see. I'm talking about what 80% of the city would say is the best attorney in Memphis, Tennessee, William Massey. And, I've been with him since I was 18. I never once thought about getting another attorney, because of the relationship and the bond that we had. But on this case, it was just something different. I even, I spoke to him about it before I got released on bond, and I looked him in the eye and I asked him, I said, Massey, if there's anything that's keeping you from, or hindering you from representing me to the best of your ability, like I know you can, just give me a head nod or something. Just let me know. I know you might not be at liberty to speak on it, but just let me know this is my life on the line.
Yeah.
And he looked me in the eye and he told me it wasn't. But, still to this day in my heart, I know it was something, whatever it was, but, and I think it started to bother Massey because when I reached out to him and let him know that I was bringing Manny Aurora on board on the legal team, because I didn't fire Massey, to be technical about it. But when I brought Manny Aurora on, he didn't agree with it. Wow. And there was another red flag to me, because why wouldn't you want to work with another high profile attorney like Manny Aurora, who done represented several celebrity, celebs or whatever in the hip hop industry or whatever, NFL athletes, was on the Donald Trump defense team. Why wouldn't you want to work with him?
So they're supposed to work together. Yeah,
I was bringing Manny on to work with Massey, and when I let Massey know, Massey was just like, he declined, and he was like, he'll just give me my money back. So he gave me the full $25,000 back, not a dollar short.
Oh, damn. You said you felt he was falling short. He wasn't representing you to the best of your ability. What what were you seeing him not doing? Was it people telling you like, hey, you supposed to be having this happen? Or was it just you knowing?
Yeah, I didn't need nobody to tell me anything because, I done been through the system several times. When I was getting legal books and stuff sent in to me. So, I was just studying law during the whole time. When you're on 23-1, you could stand at the bars and watch TV for an hour or two. After so long, your legs get tired. Mm-hmm. So, it's time to lay down and do some reading. So I was getting a lot of legal work. Legal books and shit sent in to me. So I was just doing a whole lot of reading, and I seen it was a lot of things. My rights have been violated like so many different ways. I didn't have a bond hearing within 72 hours, like you're supposed to have. At this point, when I found this out, I was 6-7 months in without a bond hearing yet, so just a lot of things that I was seeing, picking up on in these books, and it just didn't sit right with me. And even when Manny came on, Manny asked me, he was like, it was a lot of things that, a lot of things that was done that he wouldn't have done, and there was a lot of things that wasn't done that he would have done. And, he said he's not going to speak on it. He never said any bad words about Mr. Massey, but he just said he would have handled a lot of things differently.
Yeah. Do you feel William Massey would have seen how the case played out, and him being your long-term attorney, if he would have fought that case for you, just, strictly just if you stayed in there till trial, do you feel you would have got the same verdict?
If we were going to continue to go the same route that we were going, I would say no. If we were going to go the route of the William Massey that I knew when I was 18, I never met a stronger attorney prior to this situation than Mr. Massey. So if I'm going to trial with that William Massey, then I feel like I could have possibly had the same verdict. But the route that we were going, I'd probably have 2 life sentences right now.
And none against Mr. Massey, but you feel like he lost a step from what you saw, or was it just, what do you feel about this trial, or about you, and for this moment, that he just wasn't on point like normally he'd be?
My belief is that the city I'm from, the prosecutors and the lawyers and all, they work in the same building. A lot of them have been working together for 20 years plus. So Manny wasn't coming to Memphis to make friends. And he explained it to me when I first hired him. So with that being said, like he was willing to do and file motions and do things that Mr. Massey wasn't willing to do. And I believe that's because of the outside of work relationship that he may or may not have had with the prosecutor, Mr. Paul Hagerman.
That's real. Understandable. Well, with that being said, you got through those 10 months, you got your bond. You was able to, of course, be outside of the court. You was on house arrest, or how did that work?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah, I was on house arrest. I was different phases. At one point, they when it got closer to trial, they started to allow me to work a little bit. But prior to that, I was on house arrest.
During the trial itself, you were still free to go home after the trial? Or were they say, all right, we got to go and hold you till we know? How does that work? Because again,
oh, you talking about when they when we go on the trial, when they deliberating? And,
yeah.
No, they wouldn't. They ain't hold me against. I got to go home every day.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was crazy when they started the deliberation. A lot of people asked me that same question. They thought that I was being held or whatever. But nah, they don't do it like that. They let you. They let you go home. They give you the rope to hang yourself.
Yeah, I see. I seen a recent trial. I think it's the guy who shot at Charlie Kirk or whatever his name is. They allow him to do plain clothes. He could wear plain clothes during trial. Like he could,
They already having their trial?
Well, it was something about that as far as it was set up for when it happens.
Oh, okay.
He filed a motion. I think this is a situation I'm talking about, but they're going to allow him to wear plain clothes because of just, I guess, the high profileness of it all, and him dressing like he felt like put on a suit is meaning like he's dressed like he's guilty. He'd rather just wear the regular clothes. Who was telling you what to wear? And was your attorney telling you, hey man, put on this tie, this gonna look good for the jury?
Manny was on me because Manny know I'm a Nike guy.
Come on.
Yeah, so with that being said, Manny was on me, and prior to the trial, I never once put on a suit in 46 years. And I still haven't. We went back and forth, and he wanted me to, wear a suit, but I just told him. So he just told me, just get you some nice little slacks and, button up collar shirt with a tie. Prior to that, I never had put on a tie before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 45 years, 46 years, I never wore a tie or a suit. So every morning, every day, I would go buy me a tie. And the next morning, I would have to meet up with Manny before court. And he'll treat me like his son and put my tie on.
Man.
Yeah, because I don't know how to tie a tie. So, yeah, that was my first time, actually, in that type of clothing.
Hey, man, trust your lawyer. Trust your lawyer.
Most definitely. Trust that lawyer, man.
Come on.
Robert Wilson.
Come on. All right, well, this is Prison Stories 101. And for, overall doing 7 years, how long were the different bids you had to do each little time of that, doing that set?
So prior to my first federal sentence, being in and out of the penal farm inside a little state correctional facility, I think my first time was only did 6 months. Ended up violating it, went back, did another year to flatten the probation. And after that, my first federal sentence, I did three and a half, got out, violated the federal probation, then had to go back for another 2.5 years. So that's kind of and then, the 10 years for the Dolph case.
Or the 10 months, yeah.
I mean, the 10 months for the Dolph case. So that was my, overall, that's my extent of the jail time.
That first situation, was that, you said that was state?
Yeah. My first situation when I did the little 6 months or whatever, I was young then. I think I was maybe 19. So that was my first time. That wasn't my first time being locked up, but it was my first time actually being sent to what they call prison.
Yeah.
Versus the county. Can
you speak on what they sent you for that state charge and also the federal? You mind speaking on what the charges were?
Yeah. The first, when I was 19, it was just for some marijuana and a gun. I wasn't a convicted felon at the time, so it was just misdemeanor possession of a gun and a little couple pounds of weed that I had. Fast forward to the federal sentence. I was a convicted felon at this point. Got caught with another weapon and some marijuana, and they asked me, was I that night when I got arrested? They asked me, was I breaking in cars? I had at that night, I think I had on one of Flip chains. I was in Memphis. I think I had the Houston Rockets chain on, and I probably had about 10,000 in my pocket, earrings on. I told the police officer, I said, "Do I look like a car burglar to you?" And he ain't like my response, so he took my keys out of my pocket, searched the car, and found the gun and some little weed, and that's how my federal sentence came, because of the weed and the gun. They wanted me that bad. They sent me to the feds for that.
All right, man. Let's go. Your lawyer was the same lawyer for each of these situations, or you?
Yeah. I had Massey for that situation, and Massey really he did a great job on that case. Yeah, because I was they were trying to career me out both ways, give me 15 for the gun and 15 years for 7 grams of weed.
Damn.
Yeah, they said I had the gun. The gun was protecting the weed.
Damn,
yeah, it's crazy.
Shit legal now, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, for sure.
For those that again, we never do this to glorify prison, but we want to just give the real and what happens. at that time, 6 months ain't too bad, but the 3 years to serve that, you were sentenced to how long at that time? I know you served 3 years.
5.
5.
60 months.
Who rode that time with you, man? At that time, like you just mentioned, Flip was, you got on his chain and stuff. Who rides that time with you? Homeboys, your girl, baby mama's mama, daddy? Who rides that time with you?
On that first federal bid, I had a great support team. A couple baby mamas that ain't no sex, no type of sex involved, just history. Yeah. If I call, my baby mama Renata, yeah. Every year she get her taxes, she would always shoot me like 500.
That's right.
And it don't sound like a lot, but 500 in jail, gets you a long way.
Come on.
And so, she would do that once a year, and whatever she do in her personal life, and she was dating, had a boyfriend in a relationship, whatever, that's just my dog. Yeah. And so she would look out for me. Of course, my boy's mom, if I reach out to her, she gonna do it, no question. I had several friends. So it was different from this last situation. This last situation caused a lot of people to jump ship. So the support, my support team wasn't as strong as it was when you fighting some, what they would say, some normal petty shit, versus this last time. Last time I got a chance to really see who was my friend and who really was gonna ride with me. And so, now I know.
Do you understand or do you blame them for trying to distance themselves from that situation because they not know? Because of course a lot of stuff don't come out till an actual trial happens.
The reason why I blame the people is because if the shoe was on the other foot, I'm gonna stand with mine wrong or wrong. So, I might tell you wrong behind closed doors or whatever, but I ain't the type of nigga to jump ship on you because you may or may not have made a mistake. If I'm your friend, I'm with you to the end. I chose you as a friend, so I'm gonna ride it out with you.
That's right.
And just a lot of them they ain't stand on that. So with that being said, I know what it is.
Man, we need more like you. Man, we need more like you. Overall, you and I'm gonna just stay within the federal bid because you did that time and I think you got out and went back. Where were you housed at? Where were you facilitated at?
I was in a Forest City medium.
Okay.
Yeah.
How would you categorize your overall time? Like, during that time, like, would you say it was I don't want to say easy ride, but would you say you was able to get through that without a?
Yeah, I mean, I don't never want to say doing time is easy, but you just got to know how to develop your routine, and you got to make your time. You can make your time harder. You can make it as easy as it possibly can. For me, I'm big into sports. I do a lot of gambling, so I had a sports ticket in jail. And for the people that don't know, it's basically a jailhouse FanDuel. My job was I had to go to the library every day. I'm getting copies ran off, getting on the phone or getting on the computer, looking at the lines for the games, just printing my tickets out, sending them to each dorm, getting my runners together. So it was a process. It was a job every day. So that's how I passed my time.
Yeah.
When you working, moving around the compound, going from unit to unit, make sure your runners ain't cheating you out your stamps. The stamps, that's the jailhouse money.
Yeah.
So it was a lot. So with that being said, I just, before you know it, you get through football season, you done knock about 7-8 months down.
That's real. Now that keep you busy.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you have to come down on somebody that ran off on the stamps? You ever had to have an issue with someone?
Well, yeah, you get your runners, because in every unit, I think Forest City, we got four. We had 3 different A building, B, C, and so it's like 4, in each building. So with that being said, I think I had to have like maybe 12 runners or something like that. But sometimes your runners will do what they call swallowing your bets.
Mm-hmm.
They'll take a bet from some dudes in their unit. They supposed to turn all the bets in to me.
Yeah.
But when they turn the bets in to me, overnight when we on lockdown, I'm checking the scores, I'm grading each ticket. So if a nigga win, boom, I put their stamps in the ticket, fold it up, give it back to the runners, boom, you pay whoever that is. When they receive the bets, a lot of times if they look at the bet and they feel like that this bet not gonna hit, they'll swallow the bet. When I say swallow the bet, they'll just put the whole bet, just take it. But what if that ticket hit?
Yeah.
Now when the ticket hit, and now that person looking to me to pay the bet off, but I don't have it. Because my runner swallowed the bet because he thought it was gonna lose.
Mm.
So, with that being said, if it's a person in my car, which is the Tennessee car, I just go to whoever the spokesman is for the car at that time, or whoever running the car at that time, go holler at them, let them know what it hit for, and we'll make a decision on whether I get a chance to take a look at that person, which is, going to sell, get a one-on-one, or, a lot of times, we run them up top, what we call, it's the shoe. PC, protective custody, whatever you want to call it. So a lot of times they just have to take that walk.
Yeah, get them up out of there.
Yeah.
Well, let's do it like this, man. You're not a small dude. Did you have to fight in prison?
No, for my Fed biz, I never had a fight. I done had a fight in state before, but in the feds, for the most part, you get in trouble in the feds if you in debt, you done stole something, or you leading with disrespect, being disrespectful. Yeah. In the federal system, it's all about respect, and I lead with respect. So I never had the issue. I ain't never borrowed nothing from nobody. I always had what I needed. So I never had an issue, and I ain't never have to worry about nobody, picking on me or nothing, because niggas know I ain't no sucker. Mm-hmm. So, so I moved how I want to move, and with no issues, and got my money, did my time, and went home.
So with that being said, let me know, as far as just being in the penal system, just off the top of your head, like, what was the worst or some of the worst things that you probably seen while you was in there?
Some of the worst things I seen? Yeah,
if you could recollect.
And I done seen some wild shit with niggas on their K2.
Yeah.
That K2, it's synthetic.
Yeah, for those who may not know what K2 is,
yes,
for them,
synthetic marijuana, and they just put all kind of shit in it, and you smoke too much of it, I done seen niggas jump off the top tier,
for no reason.
Yeah, for no reason. I'm talking about nigga land, and I'm talking about nigga jump from the really the top tier all the way to the bottom.
That's like what, 3 rows? How many rows?
Like, I'm talking about, we only got like 2, it's sort of like a second level.
Okay.
But when a nigga get on that rail and jump, yes, I done seen that niggas crack their head open off the K2. I done seen niggas snatch all their clothes off, go jump in the shower bucket. I done seen niggas.
Shower bucket?
Yeah, the shower bucket. Yeah. I done seen niggas go put their head in the toilet, just start flushing it. So I done seen a lot of wild shit out there, K2.
Does one, like, what does the inmate do when you see does one step in and help a man like that, or? Yeah, if it's one of your homeboys or something, you try to help out, but if it's somebody that's tweaking and he ain't in the same car with you, if you in a Tennessee car and he from Missouri, you gonna be expecting his homies, to help him out, and make sure he's straight. But
for the most part, when that happened, the officer normally call a code. Mm-hmm. And then that's when, all the staff and officers run to that particular unit from every other building. You got your everybody from medical running over. So they kind of like lock everything down temporarily for the most part, get that person stabilized and get them up out of there. And once they get them up out of there, they'll, they normally let us back out within about 10, 15 minutes.
And if you don't mind to explain the car, we've had other people explain the cars in the Fed system, but, that's normally people from, Texas and Louisiana that we've had in here. But, Tennessee, most people know there's Nashville, there's Memphis. So it wouldn't be a Memphis car or Nashville. It's going to be the whole, it's going to run for the whole state.
Ain't no such thing in the federal system. Ain't no such thing as a Memphis car. It's a Tennessee car. Okay. You got this little, I guess, underlying little, I guess, myth, I guess you would say, when people say, Nashville niggas don't like Memphis niggas didn't like Nashville. And that might be true to a certain extent, but when you're in the federal system, I don't care if you don't like me, you got to ride with me, because we're in that Tennessee car, and if you don't, something pop off, and if you don't roll, then you got to roll.
It's crazy because, there's some states that really probably, like Kentucky, North Dakota, something like, do they got their own cars? They got to fall in with someone else?
No, you got, so in certain spots, that's just like, by me being from Memphis, let's just say, if I get sent to LA or California or something like that, they got down south cars, when it's like, it may not be enough people to necessarily have a Tennessee car. Yeah. So I would be considered, I would have to get in the down south car. Yeah. So, that's how they roll. In the cars, it's just like, it's the homies, yeah. And you're going to have one person that what they would call a spokesman or whoever running the car. If it's a big issue, if it's an issue with somebody else in another car, you go to whoever that's the spokesman for your car, and they go holler at the spokesman for their car and try to work it out. If it can't be worked out, then, you might get a chance to take a look at that person, which is, get you a good one-on-one in.
Yeah, I'm about to say, what do you normally have to do once you get in that car? They say in the feds, you normally got to, first show your paperwork. Why you?
Yeah, some spots, they demand you show your work. Some spots they don't. If you go to a USP, I don't know of a USP where you can go in there where you don't have to show your work. Some mediums, which they call medium highs, they make you show your work. So it just all depends.
Yeah. And I look at it as in you of course from Memphis, but let's say you were in Texas or you were in Houston and you caught a charge and you fought the case in Texas. Mm-hmm. You would still go to a Memphis car? I mean, a Tennessee car?
Yeah, definitely.
So do you pick this? Like, do you say, I'm from like?
Yeah, I'm from because when you're a federal, your inmate, your number gonna be the same. Okay. No matter where you go. If I caught a Fed case, God forbid, I catch one today, I'm gonna still have that same Fed number. It's gonna be 076 at the end, which lets you know that I'm from Tennessee. 076. So yeah, I would have to be in a Tennessee car.
All right, makes sense. As in regards to the guards, man, did you ever have any issues with the COs in prison, or did it go the other way? You had nothing but favor for them?
See, me, bro, I move smooth, and I'm very respectful. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. And with people used to tell me in prison all the time, the officers, like, they used to be like, you ever heard the old saying, Govan, don't judge a book by its cover? And I'd be like, yeah. And they'd be like if you just look at you would think you're very disrespectful, rude. And when they see that I'm the total opposite, they just tend to, take liking to me. So I never had any issue that I had. If I had an issue with staff, it's because they just was a rotten motherfucker, just dirty. you know, might have had a bad day at home with their girl or their husband and just bring it to work. Because I ain't gonna never disrespect staff, you know, for no reason. So for the most part, you know, I was cool. You know, I used to, you know, I was in finesse mode. You know, I was getting free will food from some of the women officers. So disrespecting for what?
Come on.
Yeah, I'm telling you, and they bring, every time they cook a husband a meal, they make me one.
Oh, man.
So yeah. So, you know, I wasn't on nothing disrespectful.
You ever spark something with a female officer? You ever spark anything? Anything ever come on one of them?
You know, you say, you know, you got so many women counselors and women officers and staff, and you know, when you doing little stretches or whatever, you know, you a man, so you know you can see a woman officer, you know, you down there get to undressing her with your eyes, you know, you been locked up for a minute, you know, they ain't had no pussy since Martin Luther King got shot, so you know, and it was a few women officers, you know, that was cool, down to earth, and you know, might say little things here and there or whatever, but as far as anything sexual, nothing never happened. I never crossed that line because, for one, my beards wasn't that long for me to take that risk, you know, because I done seen situations where some of the women officers will flirt with the homeboys and niggas, and a nigga jump out there. Yeah, and when you jump out there, she'll knock his head off. You know, you be thinking it's something like she on that, and then you jump the gun and she don't be on that and get your ass sent to Honolulu. You know, because all she got to do is report it. SIS coming to get you, and they gonna put your ass on one of them Con airplanes, and your family ain't gonna hear from you, damn it, till next year.
Damn. From what you saw, if there was some game to give somebody as far as how to slowly approach, like what would you say as far as just,
you know, and that's a great question because it does happen. You know, one of the homies he had a baby in jail by one of the female officers. You know, she got fired and she even got arrested.
Damn.
But she stood on business, and so my advice would be, you know, if you think you got you something, if you think you done bumped into a female officer that like you, you know, before you jump out there, I would say if it was me, you know, let her make the first move. You know, if you let her she make the first move, then you know you got her. You know, and if your beard ain't that long, if you ain't got nothing but a tray or a 5 or something, you know, ain't ride that shit out. You know, unless she make the first move, man, you better go get you what we call some fame pictures, you know, or some magazines or something. Put that violation up and go in there and go to work, jack off, you know, before you jump out there, because, you know, that's an extra charge.
Yeah.
If they, you know, if they report it. So I never jumped out there like that, but, you know, I done did little flirtatious remarks or whatever, and, you know, and get a smile or something back, but I ain't never crossed that line, though.
Were you in there during the cell phone era? Or did you serve time during that time? As far as
facts. Yeah, I don't. I think I fucked off probably about 7,500 on cell phone.
Goddamn. It seems like cell phones, man, is worse than having like drugs in prison. The way they make it seem, like having an active cell phone.
No, that's not true.
Okay.
Oh yeah. You know, because the spot I was at, phones had became so common. You know, you get caught with a phone. You know, you might go to the SHU for 30 days or something. They let you back out. You know, your ass get caught with some drugs, it's a new charge, and they're gonna ship you.
Damn.
You know, so it's a big difference. It's totally different. Like at one point, phones were so bad they tried to start giving you free will charges for the phones, but the judges and stuff start getting on the BOP, Bureau of Prison, telling them, look, y'all need to handle that shit in-house. You know, that shit too petty. We got too much shit going on, you know. So, if you get, like right now, I got a homeboy, he just got out the SHU for a phone, and we just bought him another one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's good.
Someone had told me they look at it as like almost like an escape attempt, like, you know, especially federal, like, they look at it like you being able to communicate with the free world. That's like almost like you attempting to escape.
You know, I done heard that narrative before, and maybe on some yards or whatever, they might enforce it that way. But every yard that I done been on, and especially like right now, having a cell phone, of course they not gonna just look over it. But comparing getting caught with a cell phone versus some cocaine or heroin or fentanyl, nah, that shit like night and day.
Yeah. Now going back to your last bit, and hopefully this is your last bit ever touching the inside jail. You know, you did those 10 months, you got found not guilty, but if you don't mind explaining the thought process of a plea deal, because what happens for a lot of people don't know was, you know, whenever you do go to jail and, you know, for the state not to go to trial, because the trial costs money for the state or for the feds or whoever wants to do it, it costs money. So they offer plea deals to hopefully satisfy all parties and say, all right, we're just going to save some money here.
Try to resolve the case without it going to trial.
Without it going to trial. Take us through the process as far as how a plea deal works, as far as how quickly do they come? Do you take the first one? Are you supposed to go back and forth regarding plea deals?
No, you never take the first deal unless it's it's a sweetheart deal and it ain't gonna get no better. But if you line up 10 different situations, 9 of them, you never take the first offer because it's always gonna get better. It's just like with my situation. I think the first offer was 25.
When did they come in with that offer? How long did it take them to come with that?
They came with that. Well, they didn't start throwing offers around until right before Straight Drop went to trial. Mm-hmm. And so they started throwing offers around and we was just sending, sometimes they would even shoot an offer and it'd be so ridiculous, Manny wouldn't even bother even reaching out to me about it because he knew he wasn't taking it. And so, it's like a bluff. It's like playing chess. They'll throw something out there hoping you bite. We didn't. They came down from 25 to 20. They went from 20 to 15. And, and the day of trial, when we were about to go, we were negotiating, and the head elected DA thought it was in the state's best interest and my best interest, which is all parties to sign for 10 years. They were they had a doubt and they knew it wasn't a slam dunk case. So they were willing to go, but they knew we had a great case as well. So, but the family didn't see it that way. So I actually signed for the 10 years, and here I am today because they rejected the deal and forced me in the trial, and I won.
Who rejects it?
The family of Young Dolph.
Man, so on the day of the trial, they're still like, all right, let's nip this in the bud. Let's do the deal.
Yeah.
The deal was decent enough for you to say, all right, let's.
Yeah, it was, I guess you can use that phrase, decent enough. I felt I wanted an 8.
Okay.
Yeah, but they wouldn't go for it. So 10, he said the 10 was the lowest he could do. So when I reached out to the people that mattered and everybody felt like it wasn't worth the gamble or me losing the rest of my life. Yeah,
because what were you facing? Did they say
I was facing if I lost in trial, I was facing automatic life. So they, everybody just felt like it wasn't worth it, even though I had a great shot. So,
at what age were you going into it?
Trial?
Yeah,
I was 45.
Oh yeah, 45. That's that's like a death sentence.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was 45. So, and life in Memphis, Tennessee is 51. You have to do 51 years before you even eligible for parole. So we just felt like, me going and knock out another 4 years or whatever at the penal farm or, shit, if you can't do that, man, then you don't need to be in the streets. You don't need to be in the game, So I just conditioned my mind, say, let me go and knock this shit out. So I signed the paperwork, but they rejected it.
Meaning they
told the DA that they wasn't in agreement with 10 years. They said it was too light of a sentence for what I was being charged with. And they said no. And for whatever reason, the DA, and he didn't have to honor, what they were saying. He could have easily said, look,
this is what we're doing.
This is a bad case, and we gonna go ahead and do this 10 years. He was catering to the family for whatever reason. Get them, that's above my pay grade. So but I'm glad it worked out, and because if not, I'll probably be a month in right now.
Yeah, you wouldn't be here. Yeah, you wouldn't be sitting right here.
Yeah.
How long was that trial in itself?
My trial only lasted 4 days.
Do you feel it should have been quicker or longer? Like more should have been?
I feel like it should have been longer. I had a lot of witnesses that I wanted to put on the stand.
Such as, like, if you were to throw one out there, who?
So when it got close to trial, Manny, they was constantly digging, constantly going through all the discovery. So he called me one day and he was like, he started asking me about random numbers. And I'm like, Manny, why are you asking me about all these numbers? And he said, these were the people that you were talking to 3 minutes before Young Dolph got murdered. Mm-hmm. And so when he asked me about these different numbers, one number I was talking to my brother about sports, FanDuel. We make bets every day, all day. Another number I was talking to one of the homies. I was going to serve him some weed. So Manny's theory was, if you were 3 minutes, 5 minutes before Dolph got killed, serving weed, making FanDuel bets, how were you planning and conspiring to kill Young Dolph? So I wanted to put those people on the stand and let them tell the jury about the conversations that we were having, because it's on record, it's on black and white. Like, the prosecution got it, and my legal team got it. So, for whatever reasons, the people that I wanted to get on the stand, they were sort of afraid, I guess because of the magnitude of the case and how high profile it was. Do I agree with their decision? No, I don't. If the shoe was on the other foot, I definitely would have been there before the judge if their life on the line. But kind of one person in particular that I genuinely care about, that shit almost severed our brotherhood, I guess you would say. And I was real upset about it, because this nigga know that if the shoe was on the other foot, ain't nothing in the world would have stopped me from being there. Yeah. So, but we come up different. That he always been my brother, but I was the one to go hard and he was playing sports. Yeah. And so with that being said, he explained his position. Now that he got a chance to have an in-depth conversation with me, bro apologized, and he said that he was dead wrong. Yeah. And, since he was able to utter those words to me, I forgave, bro. And, we back chopping it again. So, it's all good. Do I still think about it every blue moon? I guess I do, but I ain't tripping though. It is what it is. I know he genuinely cared about me and genuinely got love for me. So it is what it is.
Yeah, the fact that he apologized, that's the first step.
Yeah, for sure, 100.
Yeah, that's the first step. So yeah, you felt it should have been a little longer. 4 days is pretty quick for your life to be on the line.
And when I was saying it to Manny, Manny was like, he was just like, just look at all the other trials. Like, he's just look at Puffy. They didn't put on one witness. And because I was thinking that I need to have all of these witnesses, in support of me for the jury to hear. And he was like, no, we're going to let the state ruin their case. And I didn't understand this language until now, but thanks to Manny O'Rourke, he guided me through that whole process, him and Robert Wilson and Beth and Haley. So, I was just blessed to have them.
A hypothetical, I'm just curious. If you were to do the plea deal, and you were to go, that was a state crime, right? That was a state crime. Yeah. So you would have went upstate for technically, for the murder of Dolph. You would have sat down for that. Would you have been in the 23-1? How would they have played that out for you?
So no, it's different when I would have went to actual prison. If I would have been if I was going to go to 23-1, it would have been because of I wanted to be there because I'm doing what they call checking in. Some shit I'd never do. But what I would have had to do is, as soon as I hit the yard, I would have had to go holler at the homies and give me a knife. Because of the case. It's gonna be. I was talking to. I got homeboys in the pen. And when I was going to trial, we was chopping it, and I was getting prepared. Just in case if I did lose or if I had to sign a deal, something that I could, I felt like was decent. So I was chopping it up with the homies that's already there, and they was getting it to me straight with no chaser. Just they was letting me know it's a lot of niggas here love you and there's some niggas here that hate you. So with that being said, as soon as you pull up, we got that iron for you. So yeah, I knew it was gonna be it was probably gonna be a situation where, it could have been a situation where someone might try to take my life or I had to kill somebody, and I think it would have been the latter because I ain't never let nobody do nothing to me. So
yeah. Now, and again, for those who ain't been in prison, how much of your head have to be on the swivel, just to see a play coming your way, if one is to come your way?
Well, if you just a regular degular, it ain't as intense as you just going through the motions, But for a person like me on that type of case, you got to keep your eyes open for all the moves. You never know how the move gonna come. The move might come through your homeboy. So with my situation, it's just different. I would have probably had to sleep with one eye open. So yeah, it's just different. It's totally different from being a normal inmate versus a high profile inmate.
I want to speak on 3 real people real quick. Is for Straight Drop, for Cornelius, and I also want to speak to Big Juke. For Straight Drop, he was an artist that you actually have faith in that could make it.
Definitely.
Now he's, of course, how much time did he get hit with?
Drop got life.
For him, I don't know how old he was, but he was young. For him to do this time, even what you're saying, right now, as far as keeping your head on the swivel for what happened, are you concerned for his safety in there, or do you care to even think about what he's going through from whatever relationship y'all had together with the music?
Man, actually, last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, I spoke to bro. It was our first time communicating. He reached out to me. He had someone to reach out to me.
Yeah.
And saying, Drop wanted to holler at me.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to, check the temperature and see, what it hit for and, what he wanted to discuss. So I accepted the call and, we chopped it up and bro just hollered at me, and because there was some things that were said and just came to the light during the trial that I didn't agree with. Yeah. And that if the shoe was on the other foot, I definitely wouldn't have never said or did to him. But he explained how he came to saying the things that were said. And he was just being brainwashed by the sucker Cornelius telling him that I was doing certain things, and the whole time it was him. You know, and Drop ended up seeing that when the case played out. And so, you know, he kind of felt bad for saying some of the things that he did say. And, you know, he just, apologized to me. And not on no sucker shit, just on some grown man shit.
Yeah.
He apologized to me. So, I don't want to see nothing bad happen to Drop, I hope he do his time, with as much peace as he possibly, can. I ain't that type of person. I ain't cold-hearted like that. At one point in time, I feel like we was gonna be the next Birdman, Lil Wayne or something, because of the little nigga talented, and I seen it, and I wanted that for him. I wanted him to shine, and I wanted him to, become the next drill rapper out the city.
For what you wanted, do you feel, now that the case has played out the way it played out, do you feel it was the lack of money for him, or was it animosity for the situation, the person that was, of course, for Dolph being hit?
Well, I'm going to say this, and it's kind of hard for me to answer that question because I don't work in the courts. Right to this day, I can't still say he did that.
Yeah.
He got an appeal in right now that's pending, and he's still standing on that he innocent.
Yeah. So
I can't necessarily speak on that,
okay.
or whatever.
So I guess a better question would be, if it was, let's just say we're speaking of hypothetical, if there was $100,000 to be made as far as said play, can that $100,000, would he have benefited from that $100,000? Like, based on the way y'all was moving and working, like, man, he was $100,000 away from making his dream come true.
Well, if we speaking hypothetically, I think the type of person, bro was a motherfucker, and he ain't tolerate no bullshit. If it's time to go, he gonna go. I guess to answer your question in a smoother way, I done seen him go for way less. So with that being said, if it was $100,000 on the table that I'm not aware of, then yeah, I could see, bro, going with a move.
Now, Cornelius, the way it played out with him, and again, I don't know y'all relationship as far as, what it was with that, but how do you see, of course, he's still pending his, day in court. How are you hoping it goes for him?
I hope he die in his sleep.
God.
Yeah, I hope he die in his sleep. I hope he choke on his own vomit.
Man.
I hope he get in the cell with a serial killer or some shit. Nigga just kill him in his sleep. Because he's a sucker. I think all devils should die, and I characterize him as a devil because anytime you could get on the stand and just tell and repeatedly tell lies on a nigga that's done helped you and really didn't even know you, and that's something I gotta blame me on for being too accessible, and too kind-hearted and trying to help every motherfucker. For him to get on that stand and turn a lot of things around and try to just say this shit for his benefit to get away from up under a life sentence was just crazy. That's just like, if me and you leave here right to this day and we go our separate ways, and let's just say someone end up dead outside this studio and I get jammed for it. But you was here though. And so if I'm a evil ass person I could sit up and conjure up a lie and try to throw it off on you and put in
Start to making up.
Yeah. But me, the kind of person I am, I wouldn't be able to sleep with that, knowing that I done lied on you and took you away from your kids.
Yeah, I was curious. Did he have something he was getting taken away from that? Like, did he have a new child or something? Or?
I don't know if he had a new child, but I know he got a couple kids, I think. I know he got one because he spoke. He said the day that he killed Dolph, he was trying to earn some money to get a birthday present or something. You know, which is some of the craziest shit ever. You know, for you to say that, for you to go take another man's life or an artist that's done helped the city and, you know, and give out turkeys every year because you're trying to get your daughter a birthday present. Man, you should be able to go charge a bitch for a birthday gift. Yeah, that was wild, you know. So that should give.
It taught me a lot about Memphis right there.
Yeah,
man.
that should give people a better idea of what kind of person that we talking about here.
Yeah.
A nigga that'll go take somebody's life because you're trying to get a birthday gift.
From Walmart.
For a kid.
Nah, it's perspective for real. All right, lastly, I want you to, speak on Juke, man. This all came about because of a chance meeting as far as you trying to put Juke with Straight Drop, as far as you being involved. Your relationship with Juke, again, and, rest in peace to Juke, but as far as what happened to him, the way the finale of his life came about, just you being an associate with him, was even that deserved, based on again, I don't know what you know, but just based on whether the streets is talking, whether from what you hear, do you feel like, man, like...
Was his death deserving?
Yeah, not saying deserving, but more so expected, like, that, you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
I don't want to say it was expected because I feel like I wasn't expecting that to happen because the Juke that I know, I thought Juke would have been moving better, But to Juke's defense, he had some security out there with him, but he ain't had the right people. Because when them niggas pulled up, Juke had a officer standing right there with him with 100 shots, and the officer took out running. You know what I'm saying? So he had the wrong person, you know what I'm saying? He supposed to have Red out there with him. Shout out, you know what I'm saying? They got a head of security, his name Red, he been with him for years. So if he would have had Red out there, I think it would have went different. Juke may have, still been alive, but as far as expecting it, no, I didn't expect that because, Juke was, when you at war, you supposed to move like you at war. And, again, I just, he should have had a couple more people out there with him. You don't depend on no. And then, you should have had your own too. You ain't nobody gonna protect me like me.
Yeah.
So I don't give a fuck how long you've been security or whatever the case may be. Ain't nobody gonna protect me like me.
Is Memphis like that though, to where like, if it's up, it's up anywhere, ain't no safe ground, ain't no church, ain't no
it's thing over the recent years, it's thing got like that with the young niggas. Damn. They done brought a whole different element to sliding into beef. In my era, was a lot of things that was off limits, boundaries we didn't cross. But with the young niggas, it's different.
Yeah, you see in Dallas again.
And how it gets so crazy is because the young niggas so crazy. The OGs, niggas in our era, we gotta match the energy. Mm. You can't let the young niggas, come take over.
Yeah.
So, you gotta match the energy, and there you go, because the young niggas ain't even respecting the OGs no more. In my era, we respected the OGs. We weren't scared of the OGs, but we respected them.
Yeah. Nah, it's real. Yeah, it's getting a lot more blatant. Rest in peace, Lil Ronnie in Dallas or Fort Worth, his daughter in the car,
Yeah, that was crazy.
It's,
Yeah, ain't no way I would have did that. Man, do you know how many times, I can't even speak on, give great detail, but it's done been so many times where I done caught my man, or at least I done thought I done caught my man. and you get a good close up, and he got them kids with him.
Yeah, walk away.
Yeah, nah, man, you got that. I'm gonna let you make it. All right, kids, you don't involve kids, women and kids. Nah, that's just the era I come from. That shit off limits.
Man, now you saying something right there, man. Well, with that being said, definitely rest in peace to Juke, man. Rest in peace to Dolph. I mean, rest in peace to everyone that's involved in the situation,
for sure.
man.
That's just like when people, they come in under my shit all the time. They put the Dolphins up or Dolph live forever. I like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't tripping, you know. They can do that all day because, you know, I agree with it. You know, shout out to Dolph, rest in peace, Dolph, you know. You know what I'm saying? I hope his family, you know, I hope they doing okay mentally, and you know what I'm saying? I hope they, you know what I'm saying, getting through these holidays to the best of their ability. But, you know, I ain't no hatred in my heart for that side, for his family. You know, he just went through some shit and had to get through it.
You know, if people don't know, man, we're doing this interview on Thanksgiving Day. So, you know, shout out to you and yours, man. Thanksgiving to all. You know, again, November's always been like a rapper is always heard losing his life in November. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about either, man. It's crazy, man.
But it is crazy. Yeah, it's the fact that it just kind of keeps repeating itself.
Yeah.
Man, but we do these prison stories, man, not to glorify, man. So if you don't mind, I want you to be able to talk to the people, man, the YNs out there, you know what I'm saying? Even if it's a Cornelius or a Drop or any, you know, people out here taking penitentiary chances, not knowing what they've never stood a day in a pen. So we try to tell these stories to kind of motivate them to not actually have to do time that you did, you know? So if you don't mind, just at least speak to the youth out there, man. Tell them what they giving up, what they losing, and why they need to stay from out, you know, keep their freedom.
Man, you know, I'm kind of glad you touched on that, because I've been talking to a few people in my city, and people, you know, they interested in wanting me to tell my story and stuff to kids, and, you know, and try to, you know, you can't save them all, but even if you don't save only one, you know, that, you know, it make you feel good. But my message to the youth is just all the shit that y'all see these rap niggas doing in these videos and hearing in these songs, and man, that shit faker than some of these action movies, you know, and it ain't gonna get you nothing but a life sentence or dead. You know, you can't, you know, it should just sound cool and it look cool, but it ain't cool. You know, trouble's so easy to get in and so hard to get out of. Man, I just want them to sit back and just realize and just think about, like, a lot of the beef and shit that they involved in, the shit ain't about nothing. It ain't about no money. Ain't nobody did nothing to your family members or none of that. For the most part, they be into it with niggas because they claim a different part of the city or a different clique. Like, I just can't imagine me having the mindset of riding around trying to kill a nigga because he live in a different area or he claim a different clique or whatever, man. That shit ain't about nothing. Man, enjoy your family. You know, try to focus on your kids, something positive, getting learning a trade or something like that, something that's going to get your CDLs or something, because soon as you get jammed up with them niggas, it's one or two things gonna happen. You know, either everybody gonna tell on you, and then the niggas on the outside, they gonna break bad on you. And they gonna be trying to fuck your girl. You know,
that's a risk.
Yeah, so, you know, man, just quit running with all them niggas. You know, a pack of niggas. Man, get with your girl and get with your kids and just enjoy life, man. You know, just running with a pack of niggas that ain't on nothing. Now, if you running with a group of niggas and y'all riding around looking for real estate, then that's different. You know what I'm saying? But if you riding around with a bunch of niggas and everybody in the car got a gun and a ski mask, man, you need to get the hell about that car.
Come on. You could be Trey. That's some real shit, man. Preach. With that being said, now you got your own social media platforms, man, for, you know, where you, of course, are telling these stories, and you kind of, you know, you're about to go to a whole nother level, man. Documentary, books, things of that nature.
Appreciate it.
For those that do want to follow you, man, tell them how to get to your YouTube channel, your Instagram, Facebook, wherever you
can find me on Instagram, you know, Hernandez Govan 23. That's HERNANDEZ GOVAN 23. The same on Facebook. My YouTube's Bet with Quit. Quit Picks, QUETTEPSCKS. I got a lot of great content on there, a lot of funny content. I do podcasts and I done interviewed City Nash, Terrence Gangster Williams, 607 Unk, Not the Punk. So just go check my shit out. I think you'll enjoy it.
And just real quick, because I'm a big Dallas fan. Today's Thanksgiving, man. Who you got? Dallas or Kansas City Chiefs winning this game today?
Man, come on, you know the answer to that. Mahomes all day. Ain't no way.
Damn. All right. We're gonna close it out.
Hey, y'all did just come back and beat the Eagles, though.
Come on, Super Bowl. I mean,
yeah. Y'all got some life. So we're gonna see today. You're gonna see today.
All right, man. Well, enjoy your turkey, man. Enjoy your dressing or whatever it is. Enjoy your family. With that being said, man, we gotta say, man, Prison Stories 101, man. Govan Hernandez, man. I appreciate you. Happy Thanksgiving, sir.
Man, for sure. Appreciate you for having me.
Let's go.
100.